It's my personal belief, based on a fair amount of evidence, that they're not aliens. They've always been here. And I do think it's spiritual. That's my view. So, and again, it's not provable, but based on the evidence, I think.
I'm with you. Absolutely.
But if the U.S. government has, in fact, had direct contact with these beings, whatever they are, I've already told you what I think they are, and has entered into some sort of agreement with them, which is the claim of informed people, I would say. Whether they're right or wrong, I can't say conclusively. But if that is true, I mean, it's a very, very, very heavy thing.
Yeah. A lot of people say interdimensional beings.
Right. I want to ask: are angels and demons, or how would you describe these beings?
You know, these are, again, I'm getting into the realm of conjecture, so I just want to say that flat out.
Entity.
But one thing I know for a dead certain fact, having seen it, is that there is good and evil, that we are being acted upon at all times. And I think every person can feel that in himself. I mean, there are moments when you are moved to do things that are much better than you actually are, and that are also more evil and destructive than you actually are. You are subject to forces from outside yourself. That is absolutely true. Now, we can argue about what they are, but every person in the room, if he's reflective, will tell you, yes, I know what you're talking about. And so there are forces that are not human, that do exist in a spiritual realm of some kind, that we cannot see, and that when you think about it, sort of make you think we live in an ant farm.
Yeah.
Right? And that's that is real. Yeah. Okay.
And there's many.
So Tucker Carlson was on Tim Pool's podcast, double downing on what he believes aliens are not aliens at all, that these are actually spiritual beings. And there is sufficient evidence to prove that. He does continue to be very vague over these spiritual beings. When an interviewer asks him, are they demons, are they angels, or are they entities, he doesn't answer. But then again, he does, because in a follow-up response to that question, he pretty much lays out demonic activity. He says there is good and evil, and we're being acted upon at all times. It kind of sounds like spiritual warfare, that there are beings that we can't see, that the government is aware of, and they have deals with, that lead us to do things that are better than what we normally can do, or can lead us to do things that are more evil than what we are capable of. Now, I personally do not believe there are good beings, good spirits, angels, that possess people and lead them to do better things. Possession sounds like something that's left for a demon, dark energies, dark spirits. When he says there are entities, beings that can lead you to something better, to something greater, it sounds like when you hear a celebrity, a musician, a sports player, even a politician say they had to make a sacrifice. They had to make a deal with the devil. They had to sell their soul.
Well, they scared to lose their record deal. I sold my soul to the devil. I know it's a crappy deal. Lisa came with a few toys like a Happy Meal.
You're doing these songs, you know, you're still on tour.
I do, but I don't take it for granted.
Why do you still do it? Why are you still out here?
Well, it goes back to the destiny thing. I mean, I made a bargain with it, you know, a long time ago, and I'm holding up my end.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander
on this earth,
and this earth, and then in a world we can't see.
Upon making deals with these beings, these people who are making these deals have now become better than what they are, whether through blood sacrifice or dark occultic ritual magic, like what we've seen with Aleister Crowley and his demon lamb. This occultic magic was passed from Aleister Crowley to Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard, the father of Scientology. Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard went to a desert in New Mexico and were practicing these dark occultic rituals, summoning these demons. The dark occultic ritual was called Babylon Workings. Now, what's very interesting about Jack Parsons, this man who is a very dark occultic ritualist, this practitioner of black magic and summoning these demons, is that he is the father of jet propulsion technology. Basically the blueprint for NASA. It's funny how you can find a lot of occultic ritualistic magic connected right back to NASA. But anyway, going back to Tucker Carlson, he does state there are bad beings that can cause you to do bad things. And this sounds like your run-of-the-mill demonic possession. Now, whether these beings allow you to do great things or destructive things, at the end of the day, these beings still sound like demons, with the only difference being how these demons are brought over into our dimension and how they possess us. This sounds very similar to Jimmy Carter's experience, his UFO sighting, where, like I said in my previous video, Jimmy Carter among a group of people saw a UFO in the sky, and this UFO sighting changed his outlook on life, so much so that he ran his presidency on the promise that if elected president, he would reveal the secrets about UFOs and aliens. Once he was elected president, the CIA approached Jimmy Carter and told him, "Nah, G, cut all that noise, because if you were to tell this truth to the public, it's much darker than they realize, that these beings that we think of as aliens are actually our gods. They're spiritual beings that created us. They created religion. Christianity, Islam, and so forth are not true. They're false. They were made up by these entities to bring peace on earth." But what a real bang-up job they did. Jimmy Carter cried, he sobbed, and that was that. He did not keep his campaign promise. He did not release any information about aliens and UFOs to the public. But what I'd like to do is turn to Hollywood for the truth, because what Hollywood likes to do is something called predictive programming. They like to hide the truth in plain sight. They like to call something fiction, but they're trying to relay us a message. Like Barack Obama's movie, Leave the World Behind. Yes, it's a fictional movie, but you can tell there's a real darkness behind this movie, and they're trying to relay a real world message. The movie is about hacking, bringing down the grid, and bringing down America. And what do we see just days after this movie is released to Netflix? China, Iran, and so forth are hacking America, trying to bring down America. It really plays for itself. That movie was loaded with dark symbology, which I did break down in one of my previous videos. But sometimes Hollywood is trying to relay us a message, these dark and evil people in Hollywood, that they themselves play with demons. Hollywood is very satanic. Now, in 2009, there was a movie released called The Fourth Kind. It's a pseudo-documentary. It's up to you whether to believe it was real or not. Now, the movie is based off real events, but overall it is a fictional movie. But it does involve aliens, UFOs, and a very scary alien abduction. Now, when it comes to an alien abduction, when it comes to a UFO abduction, I have never seen a work of fiction portray an abduction the way this movie portrays one. Like I said, this movie is telling us it's based off actual events. You have a doctor who was abducted by aliens, abducted by a UFO. Once she's brought back down to Earth, her memory is erased. She can't remember anything. But she does know something is wrong. She does know she was taken somewhere. She just can't remember where or the details of that event. So she sees a person that puts her under hypnosis. And then the final scene is one of the most terrifying scenes that I have seen in a movie. The final scene has the doctor being under hypnosis, and she starts to recall the events of this abduction. And as she recalls the events, it plays out more like a demonic possession than it does an actual alien abduction. This woman's face starts to distort, she starts to levitate, she starts making all these sounds, and you hear this alien voice that's inside of her say, "I am God, I am the creator, I am the savior." As the scene plays out and it gets more chaotic, all of a sudden the woman just disappears, she vanishes, she's abducted. There is no alien, there is no UFO. This spirit that's possessing her just causes her to vanish. I'm actually going to show the ending scene right now. I can't show you the whole footage because part of it is blocked out by copyright, but I can show you part of it and play you the entire audio.
Покорись моей воле.
Что это значит, о чем вы?
Нет. Мир знать.
Верните мою девочку. Верните ее.
Дитя.
Она мой ребенок. Верните ее. Верните ее мне.
Дитя. Никогда вернуться моя. Я есть истина остаться. Я Спаситель. Отец, я есть. Я есть Бог. Эбби, вы это видели? Что это? Господи! Нет! 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 Нет!
At the end of the possession, she becomes fully possessed, she looks distorted and twisted, and she attacks the hypnotherapist, ending his life, and that is where she vanishes. Now, while this movie does tell us this is based off actual events, this is actually what happened, there is no proof that a Abigail Taylor existed, a Dr. Abigail Taylor. But the truth is, and what the truth this movie is based on, that in Nome, Alaska, where this movie takes place, there was an uptick in 2005 of bizarre disappearances that investigators could not explain. But yet they were getting calls in about frequent sightings of strange UFOs in the sky. But this movie is basically as close as you can get to what Tucker Carlson is talking about. If there's anybody that knows how these demonic entities work, these beings, these spiritual beings, it would be Hollywood, because like I said, they play with these demons. It was probably a demon that wrote the script for this movie, like Leave the World Behind. Now, Tucker Carlson also states if the United States government has encountered these beings, then they made some sort of agreement with them. Could this agreement be some sort of sacrifice on a global scale? That's why we always see these wars, these viruses that come out of nowhere. Or could it be the fact that they will give the United States government this technology, this extreme technology that exploded out of nowhere, but in agreement, they have to bring these demonic entities over. That's why we have things like AI and these robotic husks.
So we need to be very careful with artificial intelligence. I'm increasingly inclined to think that there should be some regulatory oversight maybe at the national and international level, just to make sure that we don't do something very foolish. With artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know all those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, he's sure he can control the demon. Didn't work out.
Super intelligent alien race beamed down a message to all of us Earthlings saying, we're coming July 13th, 2030, and boy, you better be ready because the mothership is landing right on the front lawn of the White House or wherever you wanted to land on that day. The amount of resources that would be marshaled to try to figure out what to do would encompass the whole world. AI is just like that. So when this thing that I'm talking about happens, it's going to be exactly the thing that you're thinking about those super intelligent AIs. So the one thing I can tell you is they're not going to be like us. So alien means, different. These things that we're building are not going to be people. They might be really smart, they might be really good at all sorts of different things, but they're not going to be like us. They're going to be aliens. And they're going to be, I'm sorry to say, way smarter than every single person in this room, in ways that we can't even comprehend. So this, of course, triggers a lot of alarm. One of the guys who talks about this is Elon, who says things like this, like, when you do this, beware, because you think, just like the guy in the stories, that when you do this, you're going to put that little guy in a pentagram, and you're going to have your holy water out, and you're going to wave it at the thing, and by God, it's going to do exactly what you say, and not one thing more, but it never works out that way. So this is an attitude that some are having, this emerging alarmism about the way this is going to go. But these words, demons, doesn't capture the essence of what's happening here. I don't know if any of you are turn-of-the-century weird fiction fans, but there's this guy named H.P. Lovecraft, who's a very famous American weird fiction author. And he espoused a view which is called cosmicism. And the essence of cosmicism is cosmic indifference. So what he was saying is basically, yes, there are these massively intelligent entities out there, but they're not good, they're not evil. They just don't give a shit about you even in the slightest. The same way that you don't care about an ant is the same way they're not going to care about you. And these things that we're summoning into the world now are not demons, they're not evil, but they're more like the Lovecraftian great old ones. There are entities that are not necessarily going to be aligned with what we want. So this transition is really, really massively important for our entire species to navigate. And going back to that thing that Sam Harris was saying, nobody is paying attention.
These artificial robots that these demons possibly possess for a permanent form. No one really knows. But again, this video is based off if we can trust Tucker Carlson or not, if he's telling the truth. Because at the end of the day, you have to take these media people with a grain of salt. I know some people want to say that, well, Tucker Carlson is a rogue. He's attacked by the right and the left, so we can trust him. But need I remind you, do not put your blind faith into these people, like a certain AJ. When people were trusting AJ because he was being attacked by the right and the left, he was speaking out against the right and the left. And yet this man waltzes right into a certain grove in California. Some people say he snuck in, but no, that's not the case. By his own admission, he went right up to the front gate, saw the guard, and said to the guard, "I'm with George Bush and the boys," and they let him right in. Matter of fact, if you go and watch his grove video, you can hear somebody in the background shout out his name, and he puts his camera away. So you just gotta be careful with these people. He could just be another person trying to get us ready for Project Bluebeam. Because it's very interesting, they are now comparing these aliens to now demons, spiritual beings. Now, I'm not telling you not to trust Tucker Carlson. I'm not telling you to trust Tucker Carlson. But what I'm telling you is to tread very lightly when it comes to these people. There is a reason we are hearing about aliens and UFOs like crazy in 2023. Just a year prior and before, aliens and UFOs, the government having knowledge of aliens and UFOs, was a crazy crackpot conspiracy theory. But now, along with Tucker Carlson and the government and these whistleblowers, we need to take aliens and UFOs very seriously. You think the talks died down, but no, they have really ramped up. It's just that our attention is elsewhere. Congress passes the disclosure bill, and also we have the media stating Congress hunts for illegal UFO programs as the media shrugs. No matter what they are, whether it is Project Bluebeam, whether it is spiritual entities, demons, whatever, it's apparent time is up. They are getting us mentally ready for whatever is coming and whatever is about to invade us. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.